Today our lesson is from Chapter 3, Lesson 5, Dividing Multi-Digit Numbers. Please open your textbook to page 215, and when you have your textbook ready, a pencil and a highlighter, go ahead and continue on with the video. Today we're going to be working with long division. When one number is divided by another, the result is called a quotient. The dividend is the number that is divided, and the divisor is the number used to divide another number. So I'd like you to pause the recording and go ahead and label the division problems with the correct vocabulary terms here in the boxes. Then turn the recording back on. Check and see if your answers are match mine. The divisor is number 80. It's out in front and it's going to do the dividing into the dividend, 240. And when we do the division, our answer is the quotient. Let's look at the real world link on page 215. When you are at rest, it takes about 60 seconds for a single blood cell to travel all the way around your body and back to your heart. So in 120 seconds, about how many times does a single blood cell travel around your body and back to your heart? Write the dividend, divisor, and quotient in the diagram below. So on this one, our divisor would be 60 seconds. The total amount of time was 120, and 60 goes into 120 2 times, so 2 is our quotient. Camilla's target heart rate should be about 200 beats per minute. Estimate the number of times Camilla's heart will beat in 1 second if her heart is working at this rate. So basically they're asking us to take 200 and divide by 60, which is not very easy to do. So I'm going to rewrite it as a number sentence this way, and using my estimation I'm going to play with my numbers and change them so it's easier to do. 200 is close to 180, and I know I can divide that evenly by 60 3 times. So I would say her heart will beat 3 times in 1 second. Today we're going to be dividing 3-digit dividends, and we're going to use estimate to help you place the first digit in the quotient. So before we get started though, I'd like you to add this little chart here, DMSB. This helps us remember our steps in division. So D stands for dad, M stands for mom, S stands for sister, and B stands for brother, because sometimes it does take the whole family to get long division mastered. So the D stands for doing your division first. M says then go ahead and multiply. S stands for subtract. And brother stands for bring down. So as we go through our division problem, we need to remember that we need to divide, then we multiply, subtract, and bring down. So let's take a look at a problem to see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and write my cute little device up at the top. I'm going to divide first, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So I'll write the little labels next to it. This means divide, multiply, subtract, and then I'll use an arrow to bring down. So up here we have 351. They rounded that off to 360 because we can divide 360 by 9 easily and get 40 in our head. So our 40 tells us there we have 4 groups of 10, so the first digit will be in the tens place. So then we write our number sentence, 351 divided by 9, into our division house, 9 divided into 351. So going through the process, 9 goes into that 3 0 times, so we could hold our place value that way. 9 goes into 35 about 3 times, so that's the division. I'm taking 9 divided into 35, my first step of division. Then I use the mom and multiply. 9 times 3 is 27. And then the sister gets involved and we subtract and we get remainder 8. And then at that point, that's where the brother steps in and he says, bring down the number. So we bring down the 1, and we notice that we're going to now repeat our process. We're going to divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So 9 goes into 81 9 times. 9 times 9, now this is the multiplication for mom, is 81. I use my sister to subtract, and I have remainder 0. And there isn't anything else for the brother to bring down, so our answer is just 39. And 39 is very close to our estimate of 40, so we're good to go. Let's try another one. Number 2, we have 31 divided into 878. 878 is really close to 900, and 31 I could round off to 30. And 30 goes into 900 30 times. So again, my first digit should be in the tens place because I have 3 groups of 10 right here. So I'll write down my little reminder, D, dad, mom, sister, brother. That's my division, multiplication, subtraction, and bring down. So looking at this problem, 31 does not go into the 8, so I could put a 0 up there if I'd like to, just to hold that place value. 31 goes into 87 2 times. So that was my division. Now I'm going to multiply. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. Now it's the sister's turn. We're going to subtract, and we bring down to 5 and 2. 25 is less than 31, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring down the 8. 31 goes into 258 about 8 times. So 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 3 is 24, subtract, and I have 10. Again, there is no additional numbers to bring down, so I'm done. However, because I'm not at 0, we're going to use that remainder. All right, and back to our estimate was about 30, and 28 remainder 10 is really close to 30. So let's go ahead and try a few here. I'm going to put up our reminder that we're going to go dad, mom, sister, brother, which is divide. We multiply, we subtract, and we bring down. So first I set up my house, and we should go back and estimate. I would say 786 is about 800, and 8 can stay at 8, and I think my answer will be around 100. So going this way, my 8 does not go into my 7, so I put a 0. And so now I'm going to see 8 goes into 76. Well, I know 9 times 7 is 72, or 9 times 8 is 72. So I'm going to use that. That was my multiplication on the mom. Now I use my sister to subtract. And 6 minus 2 is 4. And 7 minus 7 is 0. So now the brother steps in and says, go ahead and bring down the 8. And 8 goes into 48 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. Subtract, and I have remainder 0. So my answer is 96. And 96 is very close to my estimate of 100. So I know I have a good answer. Let's go ahead and do B together as well. So I would say with our number sentences 318, divided by 16. Rounding those off, I would say this is about 20. And I would say 318 is about 300. So 20 would go into 20 goes into 100 5 times, so this is 3 groups of 5. So our answer should be around a 15. So let's get started. Let's divide. 16 goes into 3 0 times. 16 can go into 31 just once because 16 times 2 would give me 32. It's a little too big. So I'm only going to be able to use one group. So now I'll multiply like the mom says. 1 times 16 is 16. Subtract. I can't take 6 away from the 1, so I'm going to have to borrow and make it a 2 and make that 11. So 6 from 11 is 5. 2 minus 1 is 1. 15 is less than 16, so we're good. And now it's the brother who says, hey, go ahead and bring down. So 16 goes into 158. Well, I'm going to have to start doing some just guess and check. 16 is about 20. 158 is about 150, maybe 7 times. So let's see, 16 times 7, 42, 11, 112. That seems a little too small. So maybe I'll do 16 times 9. And 16 times 9, 6 times 9 is 54. Carry the 5. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 5 is 14, 144. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to try with 19, or the 9. So 144. Subtract 8 minus 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. And 14 is less than 16. And I don't have any other numbers to bring down. So my answer is 19, remainder 14. My estimate was about a 15. So 19 and remainder 14 is nice and solid. All right. The steps for dividing 3-digit dividends and 4-digit dividends also remains the same. Our process just gets longer. On this slide, they have made a slight mistake. So I would like you to X out this problem, and we're going to do it together. So let's rewrite it over here. 6,493, and we're going to divide by 75. So 75 goes into 6 0 times. 75 goes into 64 0 times. So how many times can 75 go into 649? So let's take about 5 groups. So 75 times 5, 25, carry the 2, 35, 36, 37, 375. That's pretty low. So I'm going to jump up. I'm going to try 75 times 8. Okay, and 5 times 8 is 40, carry the 4. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 4 more is 600. Wow, that's nice and close. So I'm going to go ahead and use the 8 and write on here 600 and subtract. Change color so you can see it better. 9 minus 0 is 9. 4 minus 0 is 4. And 6 minus 6 is 0. So I'm going to bring down the 3. And when I multiplied 75 by 5, I got 375. So I'm going to try one group bigger just to see. So I'm going to go 75 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30, carry the 3, and 7 times 6 is 42, 45, 450. Ooh, that's a lot closer. So I'm going to choose that one. I'm going to take and multiply 75 by 6. So again, my answer was 450. And when I subtract, 3 minus 0 is 3, 9 minus 5 is 4, and 4 minus 4 is 0. So 43 is less than 75. I don't have any more numbers over here to bring down, so I need to bring my remainder up. So it will be remainder 43. So our answer is 86, remainder 43. All right, let's try this one. The average person has 1,460 dreams a year. What's the average number of dreams a person has each night? Well, first of all, we have to know that in a year there are 365 days. So we're going to take the total number of dreams and divide by 365. So again, I'm going to do dad, mom, sister, brother. So setting up our house, 1,460. And we're going to divide by 365. And looking at their estimates, they rounded off to 1600 divided by 400 because I know 4 times 4 is 16. So getting started, 365 goes into 0 times. 365 goes into 14 0 times. 365 goes into 146 0 times. So now I need a number. Looking at my estimate, they said 4. So I'm going to try 365 times 4 over on the side to see what happens. 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 2 more is 26. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. And that is exactly the same number as I have up here as my dividend. So I know it's going to be 1,460. When I multiply, I subtract and I get 0. And there is nothing to bring down. So my answer is 4. Let's go ahead and try a couple of these. So start off, I'll rewrite it, 4,321 divided by 56. So 56 can go into 4 0 times. 56 goes into 43 0 times. So 56 is about, we'll say 50 or 60, and I'm looking at how many times it can go into 432. So I'm going to kind of do some chicken scratch up here. I'll take 56 times maybe 6 times. See what happens. 6 times 6 is 36, carry the 3. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 3 is 33. 336, that's too low. So let's do 56 times 8. And we get 48. And 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 is 448. That's too big. So let's go to 56 times 7. And so 7 times 6 is 42, carry the 4. And 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4 is 39. So that is my best answer. So I'm going to take it in there 7 times. So 392. That was my multiplication. Now I'm going to subtract. I get 0. I'm going to have to borrow because 9 can't come out of a 3, but 9 can come out of 13, which is 4. And 40 is less than 56, so I'm good to go. Now I bring down the 1. So when I did 56 divided by 6 up here, I got 336. When I did by 7, I got 392. That's the one that's closest to my number, so I'm going to do that one. So 392, because I did my work over here, I've already done my multiplying. And I'm going to have to borrow, make that a 10, and then that becomes 9. So this becomes 11. So 11 minus 2 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0, and 3 minus 3 is 0 as well. So I'll have 77, remainder 9. Go ahead and try D and E on your own, and pause the recording while you do your work. Turn it back on to see if your work looks like mine. So here they're talking about a college stadium has 54,912 seats, and there are 44 sections of seats, and each section has an equal number of seats. How many seats are in each section? So we're going to divide 54,912 by 44. So looking at this, 44 goes into 5 0 times. 44 goes into 54 once. So we bring down 44 and subtract, we get 10. And then we're going to bring down the 9. And 44 goes into 109 about 2 times. Because I might be doing some kind of like chicken scratch over here. 44 times 2 would be 88. 44 times 3 would be 132, which would be too big. So we would go with the 2 and put our 88 down below, and we would have to borrow. We could do 9 minus 8, but we'd have to borrow and get 8 from 10, which is 2. Then we bring down the 1, so now we're looking at 211. And I would start guessing with, well, 3 groups is 132. I need to get up to 211. So if I take 4 groups, I get 16, carry the 1, 176. If I took 5 groups, I get 20, carry the 2 is 220, and that is too big. So I'm going to have to go with 4 groups of 4. So 4 times 44, I figured out over here, was 176. And I'd have to borrow all the way across so that I could get the 5 and change that to 9 minus 7, or 10 minus, we get 10, would be 3. So we'd have 35, which is less than 44. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring down, for the last time, a 2. And 44 goes under 352 8 times. And we have no remainder. So let's go ahead and have you try some on your own on page 219 and 220. Let's go ahead and do 1 through 19 odds. And if you want to go for the bonus, you will try all 19.